Hello and welcome to another FSX video. Today we are operating Air Canada Flight 791 from Toronto Pearson to Los Angeles in the Boeing 777. In the real world, this flight is actually operated currently by a Boeing 787, but I don't have that, so I have to use this. The flight time is expected to be around 4 hours and 48 minutes. We have 230 passengers on board plus 4
Hi
infants.
guys, can we start boarding now?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes, so we have 230 passengers with 4 infants. And I know Air Canada uses kilograms, but I forgot to change over all the programs from pounds to kilograms. So I'm using the pounds, the imperial measurements today. So we have a zero fuel weight of 406,700 pounds, which works out to be about 184 tons. And the fuel we're taking is about 74 tons, which is about 164,000 pounds. For a 5-hour flight, that is actually more than enough. That's actually 10 hours of fuel, but what I'm actually doing is I'm actually tankering fuel. I'm taking fuel for the trip to LAX, as well as having enough fuel for the trip from LAX back to Toronto, which I probably won't be doing. The reason why I did like that is because companies in the real world do tanker fuel depending on the fuel costs. I don't know if Air Canada would do it on this trip, but I actually checked the fuel prices for the Niagara Falls region and the Los Angeles region, and the Niagara Falls fuel is actually cheaper than it is in LAX, so I figure, why not just tanker? Anyways, we are parked here on stand 169. We're going to depart off runway 6 left. The weather here in Toronto, currently 2.5 miles in mist with an overcast layer at 300 feet with some rain in the area, temperature of 5 degrees. Los Angeles weather will actually be nice and clear and sunny. We haven't planned an alternate airport today because the flight time is under 6 hours. The weather in LAX is currently and is expected to be good, and LAX does have multiple runways, so it's an alternate airport isn't really needed today. So they're still loading up the fuel. I'm going to go ahead and begin the FMS pre-flight. So the iris is already aligned, so we'll move on to the route page. We are CYYZ to KLAX, and we'll do a route request. And we click load. The route is loaded. We're Air Canada 791. And okay, we'll clear that for now. So now that we have the route loaded, I'm going to cross-check the route with what I have on my flight plan here. So we're Toronto to Los Angeles, Air Canada 791. We are departing runway 6 left on a Mix-It 2 departure. And the transition is gantry. Mix-It 2 to gantry, direct Delta Juliet Bravo, direct Foxtrot Whiskey Alpha, direct India Romeo Kilo, direct Kilo Kilo 60 Golf, direct Kilo Delta 54 Alpha, direct Lima Alpha Alpha, direct Romeo Sierra Kilo, direct Hotel Echo Charlie. The route distance is 1977. On the flight plan I have 1997, so it's not too much of a difference, so that's acceptable. Alternate, we're not using an alternate airport, we can delete that. And yeah, we can activate, execute. We go on to performance init. Yeah. You can hear the first officer actually doing her pre-flight flows. Anyways, we can accept, but we need to change some things. The zero fuel weight is 406.7. Yes, reserves. I need to. The reserves is 7.6. The initial cruise level looks like it's gonna be 360. The cost index is 146. Fuel temperature, we're using the good stuff, so it's -44. Cruise CG, we'll change that to 7.5. Why not? Invalid entry. Okay, we'll leave it as is. And the fuel, let's see, 164. We'll just change this. 164. .1. That's what we expect it to be.
Monitor radar display. Go around. Wind shear ahead. Wind shear ahead. Wind shear ahead.
No. Anyways, let's not worry about that. Thrust limits. We're using takeoff 1. Assume temperature of 42 degrees. And the takeoff will be with flaps 5.
TCAS test. Pass.
CG will be that. And the weather, it was raining.
I'm ready
still
for
raining?
the checklist.
It is still raining. 5 degrees, and runway is wet. Acceleration 3000, thrust reduction 1500. So V1 is 142, 156, 161. We're gonna have to reset those anyway. Alright, so we need to go back to the perf page and change the fuel to automatic once the fuel is finished loading. You can actually do it right now. Data will load the wind. Execute. And the descent forecast. So VNAV transition altitude is 18,000. Recommended is 360. Forecast. We can load that for now. Okay. We can arm LNAV and VNAV. I believe it was 161. And initial climb is 5,000 here in Toronto. Set the runway heading 057. And we'll just change the initial climb to 10,000. Alright, so we'll do the pre-flight checklist. Pre-flight checklist.
Captain, set the parking brake first, please.
Pre-flight checklist.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Flight instrument.
Heading 147. Altimeter 2972.
Heading 147. Altimeter 2972. Pre-flight checklist complete.
Alright, and I'll go ahead and do the departure brief. So we're departing gate as decks in use, reduced thrust 5, backs on, engine anti-ice, NADP 1, 15, 3000 SID, no concerns.
Ready for the departure brief?
Go ahead.
Okay, we're at a gate. The taxi route out to the departure runway will be as assigned by ATC. This airport does use ground radar, so don't forget to turn the transponder on prior to pushback. We will use reduced thrust for takeoff. For takeoff config, we'll use flaps 5. Packs will be on. Engine anti-ice will be required. We'll be using NADP 1. Thrust reduction altitude is 1,500 feet. Departure routing will be by the ATC assigned SID. As for concerns, there are no special factors for this departure. I'll be the pilot flying today. During the takeoff roll, you call any malfunction or warning and silence the oral warning. I'll call stop or go. I'll reject the takeoff or any warning condition that significantly affects the safety of the flight. Before 80 knots, I'll reject the takeoff for any of the following. Takeoff config warning, system failures, activation of the master caution system, tire failure, unusual noise or vibration, abnormally slow acceleration if the side window opens, fire or fire warning, engine failure, predictive wind shear warning if the airplane is unsafe or unable to fly. Between 80 knots and V1, I'll reject for a fire or fire warning, an engine failure, or if the airplane is unsafe or unable to fly. After V1, takeoff will be continued, and no action will be taken before 400 feet, other than to apply toga and to silence the oral warnings. Any questions?
No questions.
Departure briefing complete.
Okay, now for the actual SID out of Toronto, the mix it to departure. Off 6 left, it's heading 057 and vectors to mix it. Sounds good to me. Alright, so we're looking for a 13:45 departure, which is about 8:45 local. And from the way it looks like we're on time. So the fuel has finished loaded, 164.1. And I'll set a ground ops fuel to 2,000 because I don't want them topping off the fuel as the APU uses it. Set the transponder to 2200, and yeah, so we're just ready. We're just waiting. This is the best part. This is the hurry up and wait phase. So we're actually fully ready to go. We're actually, you know, it's a rush to get going to get the aircraft off the gate, but we can't because we have to wait on other people to finish doing what they need to do. Should be about 10 minutes from now. Alright, so I'm gonna stop the video here and I'll restart it once we are ready for pushback. Okay, welcome back. We have everything's finished, has been loaded. The only problem is we have a door entry 5 left error here, which on the 200 we don't actually have a door entry 5, as you can see. So this is most likely as a result of a panel state, a slightly corrupt panel state, which I should have loaded a fresh panel state at the start, which I didn't, which is probably why this is happening, but it shouldn't affect us, so we can just ignore that for now. Anyways, let me go and get... Yes, I'm one of those people who use AES instead of GSX. We are gonna push nose right. Okay. Ground flight deck.
Go ahead.
Can we pressurize the hydraulics?
Roger. You're clear to pressurize the hydraulics.
Before start procedure.
Are we clear to pressurize?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on, as we prepare the aircraft for pushback.
I am ready for the checklist.
Cancel ICAS. Before start checklist.
Before start checklist. Flight deck door. Closed and locked. MCP.
V2161. Heading 057. Altitude 10,000.
Takeoff speeds.
V1141, VR156, V2161. V2161.
CDU pre-flight.
Completed.
Completed. Trim.
3.2 units, 0 and 0.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Completed.
Before start checklist complete.
Alright, I think the ground crew said that they were ready.
Okay, starting pushback. Left is clear, right is clear, okay to start engine.
Start sequence is 1, then 2.
Check.
I'll wait until they start turning us before I start the engine. Start engine 1.
Starting 1. Oil pressure.
In position, please set parking brakes. Tower equipment is removed.
Start engine 2.
Starting 2. Oil pressure.
We are clear for taxi. Wait for my signal on the left-hand side. Over.
Okay, both engines are stabilized. We are in icing conditions, so we'll leave the flaps up. Leave the flaps up for taxi.
Check.
We're at full right, full left, neutral, full down, full up, neutral, full right, full left, neutral. Before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist. Anti-ice. Engine anti-ice on. Recall. Checked. Flight controls.
Checked.
Ground equipment.
Clear.
Before taxi checklist complete.
Alright, and off we go. We're gonna taxi Alpha Mike, Alpha Delta, cross 3 right, to hold short 06 left. Clear on the left.
Clear right.
It looks like the altimeter has changed. The wind is now 100 degrees at 15 knots, gusting 26, 1.5 mile visibility, and mist overcast at 200. Temperature is 5, dew point 4, altimeter 2971. Oh, this is Alpha Lima. Alright, we'll take Alpha Lima over to Bravo, then Delta. This is Bravo.
Cabin is ready. Cabin crew, take
Thank
your
you.
seats.
Yeah, ignore that cabin ready call. That will actually come, or should come later once we actually set the flaps. This is Delta, so this is our turn right here, and this should take us across runway 33 right.
Approaching.
There's nobody coming down the runway.
Right.
Nobody on approach, nobody on TCAS. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
I'll get the weather radar on and turn the gain up, because that will allow me to see more of the weather, if there is any. Alright, since we're actually at kind of low visibility, we'll stop here at the Cat 2 hold short line. What I'm waiting for, I'm just waiting for the cabin ready alert, which should come up momentarily, hopefully. There we go. Before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist. Before takeoff checklist complete.
Alright, so now we're going to take the active. Runway entry procedure.
Check. Clear on the approach.
I concur. There's no other traffic in the vicinity, nobody on T-gas.
Approaching 06 left.
Confirmed.
On runway 06 left.
Okay, I don't see any severe weather. We can cut down on some of the noise. Yeah, it should be good. Take off.
Check.
checked.
V1.
Rotate. Positive climb.
Gear up. Autopilot on.
Autopilot. Climb.
Select engine anti-ice auto. Set engine anti-ice auto. Fine, I'll do it myself. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
I will select direct mobile once we're above 5,000 feet. Flaps up.
Flaps up.
After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist complete.
Alright, welcome back. We are just about 100 miles, 110 miles from the top of the descent. I'm going to program in the star now. We are arriving by the Bassett 3 arrival, the Hector VOR. So, set that in now. And it looks like, let me see. Okay, so perhaps we can't use the Bassett arrival because we're landing towards the west. And the Bassett arrival is landing towards the east. Okay, we'll take the river 2 arrival then. Hector transition. And we'll be landing on the north side. Runway 24 right. The river transition. Alright, so we cross Hector. Then Dipso. Graham between 210 and 17,000. 280 knots. Then Rusty. Then Hapso at 14,000. Okay. From a river, we'll take on the ILS 24 right, so river to Jacksev, Minza, Skull, Decor, Bria, Pollock, Mercy. And from there we'll pick up the Atlas, so that checks out just fine. Let me just update the descent forecast. Alright, so from Mercy we'll intercept the localizer, which 108.5, the identifier is India Oscar Sierra Sierra. Transition level is 180. Oh, oops. And yeah, that's about it. Let me set my approach briefing. Star. That will purge it, we don't need that one. Okay, so the minimum is 330 barrel. Barrel. Using flaps 30, runway condition is dry. The weather in Los Angeles right now is wind 250 degrees, 6 knots, 10 miles visibility. Few clouds at 14,000, temperature 23, dew point 11, altimeter 29er, 9er7. Alright, so it's dry, we'll use auto brake. We'll use auto brake level 2. Yeah. Auto brake level 2 will start AP after landing. ACDX is in use. We're going to gate and no concerns.
Okay.
It will be allowed to be the ACA7 star. Finish the approach with the expected ILS. And the decision all six for this approach is 3, 3, 0, 8. The landing config will use flaps 30. And then we'll run with conditional shrine. Auto brake will use level 2. After landing, please turn the view. This airport uses ground radar, so they will be transponder on after landing. And it looks like we'll be routing a gate today. Taxi routing will be as assigned by ATC. As for concerns, there are no special factors for this arrival. Any questions?
No questions.
Approach briefing complete.
Okay, so while the first officer does her thing, what I'm going to do now, the concern I have here is because we have dispatched with the maximum amount of fuel, we've released from Toronto with enough fuel for the return trip from LA to Toronto. What that means is there is a possibility that we will be above maximum landing weight slightly by the time we get there. Max landing weight for the LR is 492,000 pounds. Currently at 498. So 6,000 pounds. Yeah, we should be good. If I look at the forecast here, we are estimated to arrive with 86.7. So there's your fuel weight of 406.7 plus 86.7. Okay, so we have a landing weight that's, or estimated landing weight right now, according to the flight plan, our estimated landing weight according to the flight plan should be about 492,000. But based on current predictions, it's going to be, we're going to be about 1,400 pounds above. So what I'll do is, now there are a couple of ways that we can burn off that amount of fuel. One of the ways is to increase the drag on the aircraft in the form of the landing gear. The flaps isn't really considered that much of a high drag device because the wings are that efficient. The flaps don't really create that much drag, so lowering the landing gear and kind of dragging the aircraft in would create enough drag to definitely burn off enough fuel, or more than enough fuel. Problem with that is that that will cause a bit of passenger discomfort. Fuel dumping is not an option, that's only used in emergencies. So the only other option we're left with is to enter a holding pattern. Now I'm looking on the star here and there doesn't seem to be any point along. Oh yes, we can actually hold. We have a couple holding areas here. So we can hold at Graham. We have a holding here at Graham we can enter. And we'll just do 1 or 2 turns in the hold just to burn off that 1,400 pounds. So and let's do it at Rusty instead. Alright, next hold, Rusty. The hold is inbound 226, right turns, and is that an 8-mile leg? believe that's an 8-mile leg. Tell you what, I'll leave it at 1.5 minutes. Target altitude, we will descend to, let's see, we're supposed to cross Rusty, Graham between 17,000 and 21,000. I want to hold at an altitude that is below the normal profile at Rusty, just so we don't conflict with any traffic. So execute that for now. Hold available 5 plus 33. So we'll hold at let's make it 14,000. No, let's make it 13,000. 13,000, yeah. 30,000, I believe. No, actually, that would be too low. Yeah, we'll make it 13,000. We'll stay below the profile because we're supposed to cross Hapso at 14,000. So we'll use 13,000. Okay, so we can do the descent checklist now. So descent checklist.
Stand by. Descent checklist. Recall. Checked. Notes.
Checked.
Auto brake level 2. Landing data.
VRF 139. Minimums 330 feet.
VREF 139. Minimum 330 feet. Approach briefing.
Completed.
Descent checklist complete.
Okay, so we're landing on the north side for a specific reason, because that is where this flight is going to park. We're going to park at Terminal 2, which is the northeastern corner of the airport. So we'll just keep an eye on the fuel here. Alright, so the magic number we're looking for here is 85.3. Right now we're 86.7. Great, so we need to lose 1,400 pounds, which one turn in the hold should be enough to burn that off. Now it does look like there's a little bit of traffic around Los Angeles with no ATC, which kind of would be bad news for me, because then I would have to alt-tab out of the sim in order to broadcast my intentions on Unicom, which I should do. Problem with that is I think alt-tabbing while recording will mess up the video, so I'll just probably have to do my best to stay out of everyone's way. If I had a dual monitor setup, it would be much easier, but I don't. We do have some traffic. But they are all landing for 25 left. I'm taking 26 right. Now we actually might not have to hold at all. looking at the current fuel versus what the FMC is telling me. We'll do one turn at a hold, or maybe half a turn. I am monitoring the position of the traffic on, well, I'm using Survey Info, which is a really old and outdated program, but it works for me. So I'm kind of using that to increase my situational awareness. 85.3. Perfect. Interesting, it seems we must be getting some pretty strong up and down drafts. I think I need to check my weather settings. Alright, let's exit the hold.
Feet to level off.
I was going to accelerate, but if I increase the speed in a turn, it would have probably caused me to overshoot this point here. So I'll keep the speed low, and then once we straighten out a bit, I'll speed up. Approach checklist.
Approach checklist. Altimeters.
2997 set.
2997. Approach checklist complete.
I'll just go direct to river. Everybody looks like they're taking the south runways, so hopefully if they stick to their plan, then we should be out of their way. Yeah, I see that. We're getting... I need to change my weather settings. Disable the updrafts and the downdrafts. That's causing a bit of a problem right now. Alright, I need to disable that. Give me a second. Okay, so I've made some setting changes to Active Skynex, so hopefully it will be a little better now. So far we are still out of everyone's way. Now, with my experience landing into Los Angeles, they have this nice continuous descent thing going on here, and if you're not careful, it can be pretty difficult to slow down. So what I like to do is kind of slow down from early on, especially if there's no traffic around. And yeah, so we can just slow right down without having to ride the spoilers all the way in, that is. Because, you know, passenger comfort. So we'll just set flaps up speed to 18. And I also like to just update the approach speed once I'm through 10,000 feet. And we still have to use some spoilers, but it's fine, we'll make it in quite comfortably. Okay, so our localizer is identified. We have the localizer signal. Capture. Localizer.
Check.
And there's the glide slope. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1. Track the speed brakes, slow down a bit more. to level off.
Okay, so missed approach altitude is 2,000. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5. To level off.
Flaps 20.
Flaps 20.
Gear down.
2,500.
Cabin crew, take your seats.
Traffic.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 30.
Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Landing checklist complete. Approach stable.
Flight director.
Approaching 24 right.
Approaching minimums.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Minimum.
Landing.
Checked.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
brakes up. Reversers normal.
And look at that, right on time, 4 hours 57 minutes. Estimated time of arrival is 1903, and we have arrived at 1903. Alright, so I think this is taxiway Alpha 4. Alright, yep, this is Alpha 4, so we cross this runway here.
Approaching 0,
Don't
6,
see anybody.
Right. Approaching 0, 6, right.
And then we make a left turn onto Echo. Alright, and then we take Echo straight down to Delta 8, I believe. We're parking at gate 25, so yeah. All the way down to Delta 8. Okay, Delta 10. After Delta 10 is Delta 9 and then Delta 8. We turn in at Delta 8. And then we'll park at number 25. Here we are, Delta 8. And we're looking for gate 25, it should be on the right hand side. There's 26. Okay, I don't see 25, I see 23, which I guess is the next best thing. Actually, let's go down a bit further. Let's take 21B. Lights and doors.
Cabin crew disarm doors and cross-check.
Great. Parking brake set. APU is running. Wow, this aircraft is just so beautiful.
I am ready for the checklist.
Okay, good. They've connected the external power. You can turn those on. Maybe you can switch that off. And shutdown checklist.
Shutdown checklist. Parking brake.
Released.
Shutdown checklist complete.
Alright, well that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one.